Hello everyone and welcome to this session of BDC Digital Academy. As you can already tell from the video title and the description that this session is not on debate techniques or topics, but this is actually about something that is equally important, I feel, because it actually gives debaters the chance to showcase their skills, knowledge and all of their hard work. So for any type of ECA, especially for something like debate, organizers are actually quite essential. Now, you might have heard about flagship BDC tournaments like BDC Pre-Worlds, Pro-Ams, Fundraiser, and of course my absolute favorite, BDC Revolution. So what we do is we partner up with different institutions and clubs and organize these events. But over the years, we have noticed that many clubs are coming forward with their own flagship tournaments and they're leaving their own mark. And we have noticed how much it actually empowered them. Some even brought the whole world to Bangladesh and made us all proud. So as attendees and participants at these tournaments, from afar it might seem quite easy and maybe not a very big deal. And we often don't realize it, but a lot of sacrifice and hard work do go in behind the scenes. So I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all the tournament organizers out there and all the institution authorities out there for actually letting their students the scope to explore their abilities. So as I've already told you guys, that organizers actually give debaters the platform to explore their skills, right? But what's in it for organizers then? The thing is, organizing helps the organizers as well. It not only empowers them, it can teach them a lot. And I personally have benefited a lot from this. So what can you learn if you organize a tournament? From organizing, one gets to learn about leadership, how to work in large teams, how to manage time efficiently, and a lot of real life experiences that you can also utilize in future as well. And of course, at the end of a tournament, the satisfaction of getting things done is also there. So as the ongoing pandemic takes our debate tournament online, we still hope for the day when we will have face-to-face tournaments again, right? Because I know I do and I can't wait for it. So if you are a school, college or university student who wants to organize a debate tournament in your own campus and you are still not sure how to get started yet, please keep on watching to get a brief guideline and a few pointers on how to get started and how you can make your plans a reality. Now, to make everything easy to understand, let's just host a debate tournament together, alright? So you are one of the core organizers and I am, let's say, one of the tournament advisors. Now, what's the first thing that we need to do? First, we need to check for available dates to host our tournament, because we don't want our event to be on a date when there's another debate tournament already scheduled, right? So how do we know which dates are available? Thankfully, BDC maintains an annual calendar with all the debate tournaments that are scheduled throughout the year. So we can just check that. So let's just go to the Bangladesh Debating Council Facebook page and we can see that the annual calendar is actually pinned on top. So let's just click on it. So when we go to the annual calendar, we see that all the tournaments that are scheduled are actually documented. Now, as an orgcom, let's say we want to organize our tournament somewhere around October. So let's just click on the October tab and see if any dates are available. And here we see that only the last weekend of October is still free. And we don't want to lose this slot. So what we do is we give a post in BDC Facebook group that these are the dates we want to book for our tournament, and we also comment on the slot booking post in the announcement section of the Facebook group. So this last weekend of October is our chosen date to host our debate tournament, and we have also informed BDC about it. But is that enough to lock our dates? Not really, because we still need written permission from our club moderator, from our principal, and from anyone who has a say on the events or anything that goes around our school. So we write that application and get all the necessary signatures. And after that, our date is actually locked. So our initial groundwork for ABC Inter-School Debate Tournament is done, and now we can move on to the main organizing. Now, let's divide all the organizing responsibilities into 3 phases: pre-event, during the event, and post-event. And of course, the pre-event phase is the most difficult one, so let's get started with that. Now, we can follow a few simple steps to get through this phase. Step 1, form the team. Who will be in it? Let's just not focus on who is good at what right now. Let's just gather the people who are interested and who are willing to work hard for our tournament, and we can divide them into different departments and teams on the basis of their skills, interests, and our tournament's need later on. Okay, now we have a group of people who are a part of our organizing committee. So together, let's just fix the basic details that are necessary for any debate tournament out there. So step 2, fix tournament details. Now, will our tournament be a 3v3 one or a BP one? How many teams can we accommodate? Or how many classrooms are available for us? Who or how many people do we want in our HCOR or the TAP team or equity team? All of these details are very important, and we need to decide it right now. Now, let's say that our ABC High School has 20 classrooms available and 1 auditorium that we can use in our tournament. So we will need 1 classroom for our HCOR and TAP team, where they will discuss and allocate debaters and judges in their rooms. And we will need another room as a stock room. Stock room is where we will keep all our food, beverages, snacks, or even tournament merchandises and pen and paper for all the judges. And there goes another room. So 2 rooms gone, we have 18 more left. So our ABC Inter-School Debate Tournament will actually have 18 debate rooms. So if we decide to have a 3v3 tournament, we can accommodate 36 debate teams. If we decide to have a BP tournament, we can accommodate 72 debate teams. And this is usually how we calculate the team capacity for any tournament. So let's say as the OrgCom, we decided to have a 3v3 tournament. That means our team capacity is 36 and we will have 108 debaters at our tournament. So we decided the tournament format for our tournament and also the team capacity. But the HCOR, TAP team, equity team still remains a mystery for us, because at ABC High School we are comparatively very new to English debating, and we don't know many people who can be in these teams and help us out to run everything smoothly. But nothing to worry, we reached out to BDC representatives and we asked for advice on who we can approach for these teams, and they are happy to help a new club like ours. So we got that understanding, and to further understand on how equity and TAP teams are important in a tournament and how they play a role, we just can check out the videos on these topics in the BDC Digital Academy playlist. Now, let's just quickly calculate how many people are attending our tournament, because knowing that is also quite important for planning everything. Now, let's just open a new sheet on Google Sheets and start calculating. We have debaters 108, and let's say 5 members in the HCOR and 3 members in the TAP team and 2 members in the equity team. But that's not all. We will also need judges in the tournament, right? So let's say we will have about 40 judges and 12 observers, and let's not forget our organizing committee members, volunteers, teachers, and staff members. So let's just count that to be 50 more people. Now that's 220, but to be on the safer side and to accommodate more guests and alumni or whatever, let's keep 30 more people in mind. So let's plan a tournament for 250 people. So here comes the planning phase, which is step 3, plan everything. Now, what else is there to plan? Well, that's completely up to us. Let's just decide on the things and experiences that we want to provide to our participants and attendees, and divide our organizing committee into specific departments on the basis of that. Now, what are the departments that are a must need for any debate tournament? So here on the screen, you can see that these are the departments that are actually mandatory for any tournament, but of course, we don't need to limit ourselves within them. Now, let's just dig deeper and see what are the specific responsibilities of each of these departments. We start with finance. After deciding what are the things and experiences we want to include in our tournament, we need to find out how much these things cost and how much we can actually spend. For example, if we decide to give out a few gifts for our participants in the tournament, we need to decide on exactly what we want to give and how much it can cost. What we usually do is we make 3 versions of our budget on Google Sheets and we adjust it whenever necessary. So we have our best case, worst case, and moderate case budget. And it's also because at the end of the day, everything will depend on how much fund we could collect from our sponsors, partners, and from the registration fees. So let's say we assigned a few people in the finance team. So they will have to keep track of all of our expenses till the end of our tournament. And they will also have to make the budget and make edits whenever necessary. So let's say our finance team is there and they make this beautiful budget and 3 versions of it, and now we know how much money we can actually spend to execute our dream tournament. Then we need to find ways on how to actually collect that money. So here comes sponsorship and documentation, and they are together for a reason. So for sponsorships, we need people who will approach different organizations, set up meetings, go there and tell them why they should sponsor in our tournament, how much money we need, what are our different ideas, and most importantly, how sponsoring in this tournament actually benefits them. So to do that, we also need people who will write, edit, document all of our sponsorship and partnership proposals, and even make presentation slides for us. So there you have your documentation team. Now, as the organizing committee, we all have to make sure that we are utilizing all of our connections and alumni networks. We can even email directly to organizations and their representatives, or even message them through LinkedIn. We just need to set those meetings, go there and sell our ideas to them. Even if we don't get a monetary sponsorship, we might still get a partnership. The companies might give out free products for us, even as snacks, beverages, or gifts. And even that helps us a lot to cut down major costs in the tournament. And in the worst case, when the organization can't help us this time at all, we will still have a network and a connection built with them through which we can approach them in our future tournaments as well. So no reason to be disheartened if you face rejections, which you probably will 8 out of 10 times. But you just have to keep on trying. So these meetings we get are very important. But even if nothing works out, we have to believe in ourselves that in this worst case, we can still deliver a good quality tournament just with our worst case budget. So no reason to feel that we can't get this done, because we can. But even after sponsorships, we still have partnerships, right? Now there can be different types of partnerships. For example, you can have beverage partner to give free water, or hot beverage partner or refreshment partner for free coffee or tea throughout your tournament. Then of course there's snacks partner, or you can even get a media partner to spread news and articles about your tournament, or even radio partner for similar reasons. Now these are just a few common partnerships that we usually approach for. But of course, one team can approach different types of organizations for any types of partnerships depending on their tournament's needs. So there you have it. Then we can go for one of my favorite aspects in any tournament, which is the food. You have to decide on how many meals you want to provide throughout your tournament, and that completely depends on your schedule. So for example, if you want debaters to report at your campus at 8 a.m., you should provide breakfast. But if your reporting time is at, let's say, 11 a.m., then breakfast is actually not necessary and you can directly move towards lunch. And of course, don't forget about snacks as well, especially if you can secure a good snacks partner. Now, after deciding how many meals you want to provide, you have to decide on the menu as well. Now, while deciding the menu, it's great to have a few variations between meals. So if our tournament is for 2 days and we provided, let's say, fried rice, chicken and vegetable for our day 1 lunch, it will be great if we don't repeat this same menu throughout the rest of the tournament. But of course, that depends on our budget as well. Now, while deciding the menu, it's important to keep in mind a few things. Different people have different requirements or preferences when it comes to food because of their faith or because of their diet. So while choosing the menu, chicken is always a great option if you want to go for meat-based items, and keeping a few quantities of vegetarian items is also very important for your participants who are vegetarian. So as our tournament is for 250 people, it will be safe to keep at least 30 vegetarian boxes for our participants. And after that, do not forget to purchase enough water. Because at debate tournaments, people are constantly talking and they need water after each round. So what you can do is you can either provide a bottle of water at the beginning of the day and keep water filters in different corners of your campus, or what you can do is provide water bottles in every debate room for the debaters and the adjudicators after each round. So in that way, the debaters won't feel that there is a lack of water in the tournament. After that, when you have a set budget in mind, when you have a set menu in mind, what you need to do is approach all of your favorite restaurants or vendors, whoever you know who has a food business, just approach them, compare all the deals and select the most cost efficient yet the best quality option, because you don't want your participants to go home and have a stomachache, right? So even though the cost is very important, the food quality is also very important to ensure the best experience for all of your participants. Now, we have all the plans we want to implement. We have a set budget in mind. We are even approaching different organizations for sponsorships or partnerships, but we still haven't ensured something that is the most important in our debate tournament, which is getting the participants. So here comes the role of marketing and communications, because we need to let people know that we are hosting this grand event and they should not miss out. So an easy way to do that is opening a Facebook event page, inviting everyone and sharing the event page in different relevant Facebook groups like Bangladesh Debating Council, Bangla Bitorko, or online debates, all those Facebook groups. Now, even after doing that, to ensure that all the school authorities are informed as well, let's just make a list of schools that we want to invite and send invitation letters to them. And we can even send our tournament posters there where all of the students can see that we are hosting this event. Maybe someone in our design team should get started on that. Now, even after doing that, we need to ensure that we are constantly communicating with all of our participants on a regular basis. We need to give them constant updates on how to register, how to pay their registration fee, what is our schedule, who is in our AdCore, TAP team or equity team, all the things like that. Now, when it comes to communicating with your participants, another team is also very important, which is the registration team. And they actually need to take a more hands-on approach when it comes to communicating with participants, because they need to keep track of who is registering, contact and communicate with them individually, and collect the registration fees from them. So it's better to have people who have Bikash accounts in this team to make the registration fee collection process quite easy for everyone. And even after that, the team needs to keep track of all of the cash flow, who is registering when, and who is left to pay. Because at the end of the day, the team is dealing with money, right? So keeping track of everything is very important. The registration team will also be responsible to keep track of attendance of all the participants during the tournament. So in debate tournaments, we usually have a reporting booth or a registration booth near the entrance, right? So all the participants come there, give their attendance, collect their ID cards or tournament goodies, and they go on their way. But the registration team actually needs to keep track of that attendance and see who is present in the tournament, and they will have to inform the AdScore about it later on. Even in a case when a team or an individual or an adjudicator is missing or is late or can't be reached right now, the registration team is also responsible to reach out to them and contact with them. And trust me, it's quite common when someone goes missing during a debate tournament. So the registration team and their spreadsheet with all of the contact details of all participants is also very important to be in the tournament at all times. Now let's go back to our planning board for a bit. We wanted to give out gifts for our participants. We wanted to send out posters for different school campuses. At our debate tournament, we will need ballot papers. We will need papers with government or opposition written on it. And to make our tournament look festive, we can get a few banners as well. Now, to execute all of this, we will have our logistics and operations team. Now, people in this team might just need to make Nilkhet or Katabon or its equivalent in your own area their second home, because they need to execute everything from printing banners, posters, ID cards, making t-shirts for everyone, notebooks for everyone, making the trophies and crests for winners and guests, then purchasing the products that will go in the goodie bags. They are responsible for all of these things. So what they need to do is they need to contact different vendors for different things, go to the shops, look at all the options, compare the deals, choose the best one, and after ordering they have to monitor everything till delivery, because it's quite common that after ordering something to make something or to print something, vendors often make mistakes, and to avoid that, monitoring the whole process is actually very helpful. Now this department is probably the toughest one in the whole tournament, but one can actually learn the most from this department as well, because you get to learn team management, people management, communicating with different people, especially like people like vendors, and actually know how to strike a good deal with them. And these are actually very important life skills that you can gain from this department. Till now, I discussed about the essential departments for any debate tournament, meaning that these departments are a must need if we want to organize a debate tournament. But let's just take some time and discuss about a few departments that are not really essential but optional, meaning that it's completely fine if a tournament does not have these departments or elements, but of course it can still add value. So if one can afford it, if they have enough funding and if they have enough skilled people to execute it, they can for sure go for this. Now, for example, we can make a whole magazine for our tournament. So we will need a publication department where a group of people will plan and design the whole magazine. They will have to write and collect write-ups from different people, and they will proofread everything, edit everything, and after designing the whole thing, finally they will have to go to the press and print it. Now the publication team can also approach different organizations for advertisements in the magazine, and that can actually be a good source of funding as well for our tournament. Then we can also decorate our whole campus and make it as beautiful as possible. Now we all have those classmates who are really good at arts and crafts and they love everything aesthetic, right? So if we have the budget and if we can afford it, let's just gather those people together and make our campus look really beautiful and very festive. And of course, again, decor is not essential for a debate tournament, but if you can afford it, it can really change the overall experiences for all of the participants. Moving on, another element that can really help us to get additional funding for our tournament is actually having stalls by small businesses in our tournament. Now it can be food stalls, it can be stalls for stationery items, or even a clothing line. Now we can actually charge an amount of money from these businesses as rent, depending on the stall size and the number of days they want to rent the stall for. Now, of course, to do this, there are a few considerations, like, does our campus have enough space to accommodate the stalls? If we do, can electrical lines reach there? Then can we actually afford the setup cost for all of these stalls? Now, if all of these considerations are taken care of, we can start approaching different small and medium business owners we know, or even knock businesses through their Facebook and Instagram page, and we have to send them a stall proposal. And after that, and after discussing everything with them, we have to lock the deal. Now, if we have stalls in the tournament, what the stall team needs to do is ensure that these stall owners have everything that they need, from having proper and stable electrical connection to even having multi-plugs and whatnot. The team has to consider all of these things. Now, stalls can add a lot of value to the overall tournament experience. At the same time, you get to actually support small businesses and get additional funding for your tournament at the same time. So stalls are a great option as well. Then another department that we can incorporate is, and it's quite self-explanatory, is for socials, or in a more debate specific jargon, break night. Now, break nights can be enjoyable for participants, but most importantly, it can be a very enjoyable thing for all the members of your organizing committee after months of hard work. So it can be cultural performances by the organizing committee members or outsiders, or even it can be a whole concert. Whatever it is, if you can afford it, go for it. And in that case, the people who will be in charge, they will have to coordinate among all of the performances and also ensure that the sound and lights are okay and good to go throughout the whole event. So these are basically the optional departments that I wanted to discuss with you. So after all of this, you now know that what you can do in the pre-event phase of a tournament. So you know how you can divide the departments, how you can work in those departments, and what the specific responsibilities are. Then we have to move towards what our responsibilities will be during the tournament. So let's discuss about that. Now, what do we need to do during the tournament? I've already told you guys about the responsibilities of the registration team and the fact that they need to be in the registration booth and keep track of everyone's attendance and communicate with everyone. So I won't explain it again. Now, then comes the food team. They will also have a lot of responsibilities during the tournament as well. First of all, they will have to ensure that the food reaches our campus on time, right? And they will have to make sure that these items are fresh and are not spoiled. After that, the food team also needs to make sure that every participant got their food, and they will also have to keep track of it. Now, they can make food coupons if they want, or they can just check from the participants list we have. And then food team also has to decide how they want to distribute this food to begin with. They can either send the food directly to the debate rooms, or they can have a separate booth set up for distribution where the participants will come in and they will receive the food and beverage. And again, don't forget to order enough water. Now, the food, the snacks, other tournament merchandises, all the beverage, they will all be stored in our stock room, right? So one person needs to be in the stock room at all times, and they need to keep track of everything in their notebook or on a piece of paper, and they need to keep track on how many units of what are actually going out of the stock room. And they can of course do it digitally as well, but by doing this you will always have a calculation on how many products you have left in the room, and you will also know when something goes missing from the room. So basically, the members or volunteers who will be in the stock room are actually responsible for anything that goes in or out of the stock room. So that's the responsibility there. After that, let's discuss about a few more core responsibilities during the tournament. Now, in any debate tournament, we need a lot of volunteers, right? So what we can do is we can actually divide our organizing committee and the volunteers into specific categories depending on the specific responsibilities. So it can be timers, ushers, or runners. Now I will explain what these words mean and what are the specific responsibilities for these volunteers. Now, if you have ever been in a debate tournament, you have probably seen one person sitting in every debate room and keeping track of the time and constantly notifying the debaters and the judges. So you already know that in our tournament we need a timekeeper in each of the rooms. Now the timekeepers can do it either by using a stopwatch, or to make everything easy they can use debate timer app, and it's actually available in Android and iOS, so they can use that to make everything easy. And all the timekeepers need to be briefed and trained very carefully on how to actually keep time, on how long the speeches are, whether are they for 7 minutes or for 8 minutes, and how they should clap or ring a bell and actually notify the debaters and judges, and they need to be trained on these things. And of course, as the ACHCOR, ask for clarification and be absolutely clear on what the timekeepers need to do. But timekeepers have other responsibilities as well. Now our ABC inter-school debate tournament has 18 debate rooms, right? So let's say that the room numbers are 1 to 18, and we have one timekeeper assigned in each of these rooms. Now what the timekeepers need to do is take an A4 paper and write down their assigned room number in a large font. Now let's say that I am a timekeeper in room number 2 and I have that placard with me where I have written that I am in room number 2, and what I will do is I will go to the auditorium and stand outside by holding my placard. Now after the slot allocations and motion after the room allocations and motion release, the debaters will come outside. They will see that I am holding my room number 2 placard, and the debaters who are in room number 2 will come towards me. And when I have both teams of room number 2, I can just guide them towards their room. And that is also one of the key responsibilities of timekeepers, because debate tournaments take place throughout a large chunk of the campus, right? And participants don't really know where the specific classrooms are. Now, in any campus, a few crucial spots are, let's say, the auditorium, the cafeteria, washrooms, and of course, most importantly, the debate rooms. Now, to make sure that a tournament is running smoothly, it's important to make the navigation around the campus as smooth as possible as well, because we can't expect our participants to know where is what, because the campus is not familiar to them. So here is where the ushers come in. Ushers are volunteers who will stand in strategic locations along the most used routes, and they will actually guide the participants towards different strategic locations. Now it can be from the campus entrance to the registration booth, it can be from the registration booth to the auditorium, from the auditorium to debate rooms, or from the debate rooms to washrooms. And to make sure that our participants don't wander around, ushers need to assist them and answer any of their queries. Like, participants might ask about where a certain room is or where the washrooms are. So the ushers will have to assist there. Now the ushers become even more important when it comes to accompanying the judges to their debate rooms. Now it's not practical for timekeepers to come back to the auditorium and accompany the judges, right? So the ushers can do that and just guide them in their rooms. And after that, when the debate has started and no participant is wandering around in the campus, the ushers can actually help out in other departments, like they can help out in food or even in the stock room if it's needed. Now, there was a time when debate tournaments used to end very late at night. and it was mostly due to the long intervals between rounds, and generating the tab took a lot of time as well. So these were one of the main reasons. Now, the faster the ballot papers by the judges reach the tab team, the faster the next round can start, right? So here is where the runners can actually help. What they need to do is, whenever the judges in one debate room are done with their ballot paper, the runners need to take it from them and give it to the tab team. So basically, they need to be on the debate floors and know where the tab team is located. Now, it's better to have multiple runners on one floor, but even one is completely fine, because the timekeepers can help with this as well after the debates are done. And runners can also help with bringing things from the stock room on an emergency basis. For example, if someone asks for pen and paper, or if a judge asks for ballot papers, or if someone asks for water, the runners can help with that. Now, in a tournament, the responsibilities of runners and ushers can be interchangeable depending on the number of volunteers that are there in the organizing committee. So an usher can also be a runner if the organizing committee is a small one, and you really don't need separate people to do this. And both ushers and runners should also have the basics of timekeeping down as well, because in the case of an emergency, one timekeeper might be absent, and the ushers and runners should be prepared to replace them in those cases. The main responsibility for everyone during a tournament is basically tournament coordination. So it's ensuring that you are on schedule, that all the debates of all the rounds are starting on time, and basically making sure that everything goes as smoothly as possible. Now, to do that, another role for a few volunteers is quite important, which is floor managers. Now, a good floor manager can make everyone's life very easy, because they will basically lead our team of timers, ushers, and runners, and will oversee if they are doing their work properly or not. Now, the responsibilities of floor managers can of course vary from tournament to tournament, but I will still try to point out a few of the common ones. So first of all, they have to ensure that all of the debate rooms are being arranged and cleaned after each of the rounds. So when a debate round ends, usually a room is very dirty with paper lying around or empty water bottles lying around. So the floor managers need to lead the ushers and runners to clean these rooms as soon as possible before the next round starts. Now, when it's time for the next round to start, the floor managers will also have to check if all of the rooms have timekeepers in it, if the rooms have water bottles in it or ballot papers in it. And after the debates are over, they will also have to send their timekeepers to the auditorium again with their placards, so that the timekeepers can guide the debaters to the debate rooms for the next round. Now, if there is a case when there's a team or a debater or a judge is missing or is not in the debate room yet when it's already time for the debate to start, the floor managers need to inform the core organizing committee or the HCOR members as soon as possible, so that they can solve this issue as fast as possible as well. Then the floor managers will also have to oversee if the filled up ballots are taken from all the rooms on time as well. Now, they might even have to tell the judges to fill up the ballots as soon as possible, especially if more than 50 to 20 minutes have been spent for deliberation. And when that is done, after the judges are done filling up the ballots, the floor managers need to send their runners to all the rooms to take those ballots and to take it to the tab team. And lastly, the floor managers also need to make sure that after a debate round is done, that after that the judges and all the debaters are not in the floor anymore, and they need to go to the auditorium as soon as possible to wait for the next round to begin. So these are just a few common responsibilities of floor managers. Now, a lot of these responsibilities do intersect with timers, ushers, and runners, but the role of floor managers is more supervisory. But of course, they can work on different departments as well, and even work on distribution of snacks or food items in all the rooms, and they can even check if all the debate rooms in their own floor has gotten the snacks or items or whatever we're sending in the debate rooms. And the floor managers can constantly give feedback to the core organizing team about whether all of the work in their floor is going on efficiently or not. So the role of floor managers is actually one of the core ones which can make or break the tournament. So let's always keep that in mind. Now, let's say that it's the end of October and our ABC Inter-School Debate Tournament has come to an end. Now, does that mean we are done with everything, or do we still have a few responsibilities left? Well, yes. Even though the tournament has ended, we still have a few responsibilities left to wrap up the whole tournament. So here comes the post-event responsibilities. So first of all, if there are any vendors that are not paid yet, try to pay them as soon as possible, because they gave their time and effort as a service to you, and you also want to keep a good relationship with them so that you can work with them in future tournaments as well. So clear those bills ASAP, and also don't forget to keep the receipts, because that's how you will actually keep track of all of your tournament expenses. Now, even though the tournament has ended, you still need to maintain a good relationship with your sponsors and partners for future references, of course, and you have to make sure that they are also happy with your tournament outcome. So some sponsors might even drop by your tournament and some might not. So in that case, the next responsibility that you have to maintain is you have to deliver the tournament merchandise, goodies, and the crest for the sponsors. Now, there are different delivery organizations that can help you with this, but you can do that in person as well. And I actually suggest that you do it by yourself, because that actually helps you to build that connection and network with these sponsors and partners. Then, some participants might reach out to you and say that they didn't receive their certificates, or maybe they were not in the closing ceremony and they did not get their trophy or crest. In that case, you can again deliver it to them if possible, or what you can do is you can set up a different date with them and date and time with them when they will come to your campus and receive the certificates and crests from you. And lastly, you have organized this great event, right? But you want to tell people about it as well. You want people to know about it. Things like who won, who were the guests, things like that. Now, to do that, what you can do is you can write a press release with all the necessary details of your tournament and send it to different newspapers or online portals. And if you are able to manage media partners before the tournament, then life can become a lot easier because of that, because your media partners will deal with it, and they might even send reporters or writers to your tournament, and they will spread news about it. So that's about it. Now you know almost everything that I know about organizing tournaments, but there are still a few things that you should keep in mind before organizing a tournament, and I will wrap up my session with that. First of all, Murphy's Law is very real, and anything that can go wrong does go wrong before a tournament. For example, on just the day before your tournament, some vendor might tell you that they can't deliver the products on time, or that they have ruined the whole thing. So when something like this happens at the last moment, there is little to no scope to take corrective measures, right? Or there is little to no scope to fix that. So in such cases, to avoid that, what you can do is, first of all, be there throughout the whole making process and monitor everything. Also, set the delivery date at least 2 or 3 days before the tournament rather than the immediate day before. This helps because in the case when there is an error, you still have the time to take corrective measures in that case. So there's that. Other things can go wrong as well. For example, in a tournament, that we organized in my own institution. On the event day, in the morning, some vendors were supposed to come in and install a few decorations and banners. Now, in the morning, our vendors overslept, and we called and called everyone, and finally we could reach only one vendor, and he came in as soon as he could. But the whole work was not for one person. You needed more people for that. So we were running out of time. So we thought to ourselves, okay, we don't have enough time in our hands. The participants will come very soon. So let's just do it ourselves. So we held the ladders, the hammers, the banners, and we worked with the vendor and got it done in time. What I mean by this story is that disasters can happen and things will go wrong, but there is no reason to panic at that time, or there is no reason to think that we can't get over this. If you just have to believe in the whole team that whatever happens, at the end of the day, our tournament will be a success. The next thing that you need to keep in mind is that it is okay to ask for help. If you are stuck somewhere in the process, or you are unsure on what to do next, you can just ask for help to your seniors, alumni members, teachers, and of course, we at BDC are here to help you always. You can reach out to us through our Bangladesh Debating Council Facebook page, or even knock any one of us through Facebook, and we will try our best to give you advice and guide you. Last but not the least, remember to motivate your team constantly, because organizing tournaments is quite stressful. It takes a lot of effort, time, and sacrifice, and in the process, the team faces a lot of setbacks. They might not have enough sponsorship leads, or things just might not go according to plan. It's important to motivate them and keep on reminding them that you are doing this for a set goal in mind. You want to make your club and your institution proud, and you are doing this to leave a mark in the history of Bangladesh debating. And keep reminding yourself that you got this, and together you can get this done. So this brings us to the end of this session. If you are still watching this, thank you so much for sticking around. I hope this session was helpful and you got some necessary pointers and guidelines on how to organize a debate tournament. But of course, you don't need to limit yourself within these. Think outside of the box, bring on crazy ideas to the table, and who knows, you might be onto something, and maybe your idea can be a norm in our future tournaments as well. So reach out to us if you need any kind of help, and we can't wait to see what tournaments you bring for us. Till then, good luck and take care. Thank you very much.